Welcome to Legacy Boxing Showcase, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions. I'm Ed Nunez, along with Austin Colleen. And Austin, March 17th, Route to Glory at Route 66. Just a couple weeks out. You, myself, and Daniel Pitbull Pettis covered the last Legacy Boxing card at the State Fairgrounds, the Manuel Lujan building. I believe 8 or 9 fights. And we finally got you a sight line, after the first round of the first fight. Everything went great. I thought we had a lot of fun. I thought we worked well together for our first fight. But 3 weeks out, what are the fighters preparing for? I mean, there's so many things. You've been to a million weigh-ins. You've been to a million fights. You've been a boxer, referee, and a judge. You know a lot about this game. So 3 weeks out, how are the fighters preparing for what they have to do?
They are still training hard, and for the next 2 weeks, they'll still be sparring. And then, depending on who your trainer is, a full 7 days, they want no sparring, and the workouts get cut in half. Amazingly, when you cut the workout in half, it makes you edgy and jumpy, and that's a good sign. And you actually don't lose any strength at all. As a matter of fact, if anything, you gain more strength because now you're not physically tired every day when you leave the gymnasium. And you'll be at your best. Some trainers, they push it too far. The fight's on Saturday, and they still got the guy killing himself on Thursday, and they'll get in the ring, they're flat. So that last week, you really cut it in half.
Over the years, boxing, you've seen boxing training change a lot. Back in the day, they may not have believed in lifting weights or the things that they do now.
Right.
What's changed in your mind most? What's changed the most?
Some of the fighters use too heavy weights, and if you do, now the danger of that is you push your punches instead of snapping your punch. So I always did circuit training, because circuit training will make you stronger, but I'm not going to be Mr. Universe. But I'd always do circuit training. I'd have 12 or 13 stations, and I would just go through them one at a time. I'm not trying to give Total Gym a plug unless they want to give me a new machine. But I do circuit training. I spent a couple of $1,000 on that. But it's nice, and you can switch things out. And then between sets, I do what they call supersets. You take a couple of dumbbells and curl them. That would be ridiculously easy because they're not heavy. But you're already exhausted from the exercise you just did. And instead of resting for 60 seconds, now you're doing curls or front curls or tricep or some other exercise.
You want to retain that explosiveness is what you're saying. You don't want to be too heavy, muscles all jumbled
Matter
up.
of fact, you gain explosiveness in that week that you're not sparring.
Because I would think your muscles want to be limber. You want to be able to have full maximum usage as far as range of motion, things like that.
I like to use that expression, sinewy muscle. Sometimes you'll see a tall, lanky fighter, and you can't believe the punches he can take to his body. You'd think it would just, and he's peppering the other guy with the better build, and he'll win the fight. And there's been a lot of terrific fighters like that. Sugar Ray Robinson, obviously, was a great example.
Well, that's one of the greats. We have a fight coming up that you wanted to talk about, and it's a women's fight. Alma Garcia from Denver, Colorado, with a record of 2-5-0 with 1 KO, versus Katie Ramirez, 0-2-1 from Bosque Farms, New Mexico. We saw Ramirez fight Jordan, oh my God, Garcia a couple of months ago in November. So she's turning around and fight about 5 months later. What do you think? Because Katie Ramirez that night fought Jordan Garcia, who outweighed her, had more strength than her, and wore her down and came away with a unanimous decision. So going into this fight for Ramirez, what do you see?
Well, adding to everything you said, which was spot on, Garcia had much more skill because she had a greater experience as a fighter. So all those things were working against Katie Ramirez, but I thought Katie put up a real good fight. She certainly had endurance. She never gave up. Now this night, she's going to be fighting 3 divisions below that. So instead of coming in at 147, she'll weigh in around 130 to 126. And if she can go down in weight successfully, that's the key. I think she might have a shot at winning this fight. But her opponent has really improved in her last 3 fights, is where she got 2 of her wins, her 2 wins.
The thing I want to ask you this, coming down in weight, and this was asked about a lot of fighters, do they bring their power with them? That's always a question.
Well, I always go back to Emil Griffith, terrific welterweight champ. Moves up to middleweight, wins that title. Then when he loses the middleweight title, he comes back down to welterweight. When he got into the ring, he looked magnificent, but he was flat. And Jose Naples, and I'm probably destroying the poor man.
No, it's Naples.
Okay.
I believe. So I think you're right. Go ahead.
So Naples just beat him. And, you know, he went the distance, but he just didn't have it.
Sometimes, though, you know, Gil Clancy said this. Gil Clancy says boxers have it. They look in shape until they walk the first steps into that.
Right.
All of a sudden, they
Absolutely.
lose it. And you don't know why. They look great. And Emil Griffith, as we mentioned, shoulders that you could serve dinner on. Boxing historian Bert Sugar said that. So you never know why. I mean, you mentioned he looked magnificent. He was in shape. But Gil Clancy said that. You take those steps up, and sometimes a boxer loses it overnight.
So I don't know what to expect. That's my only concern with Katie Ramirez. Did she destroy herself by fighting at 147? And only time will tell.
Sometimes that happens too. Let's talk about Joe Gomez. He'll be fighting Corey Alarcon in Denver, Colorado. And you know, if we don't get to this all in this segment, we'll continue. Gomez at 27-1 with 9 KOs from Aztec, New Mexico. Alarcon with record of 17-21 with 4 KOs from Denver, Colorado. Please don't let that record deceive you. But anyway, talk about Gomez a little bit. We got about a minute left, but we'll continue in the next segment.
I think Gomez is terrific. And if he still has it and he wins this fight, he's one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the state. And he's made his bones traveling out of state. It's a shame there's no one that promotes up in the Farmington area, because he is a terrific fighter. I saw him lose the split decision to Josh Torres, which many of the people in the audience were booing. And I saw him stop Christian Cabral in a very convincing stoppage. That's Christian's only defeat. And
Christian Cabral, we saw him fight at the fairgrounds, and he looked really good.
And then you got
Boris Teague.
Brian Mendoza, who's 16-0. This would be a great fight for Brian Mendoza. I see they're fighting at middleweight, but my experience with Gomez, he should fight at welterweight.
Maybe we'll see that down the line. We'll be back after these messages to Legacy Boxing Showcase.
It's time for the 2018 NMAA State Basketball Championships, and it can be seen right here on the NFHS Network. Get your 1-month all-access pass for $9.95. Visit NFHSNetwork.com/NMAA. Let the madness begin.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Welcome to Legacy Boxing Showcase, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions. I'm Ed Nunez, along with Austin Killeen, and with us in studio is welterweight Hector Hurricane Munoz. Hector, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming, man.
Good. How are how are you doing? Thank you for having me.
We sure appreciate it. Austin, I know you have some questions for Hurricane.
Well, the first time I saw the Hurricane, I saw he had a colorful nickname, and his opponent was writing a lot of checks with his mouth. I won't mention his name, I won't embarrass him. But he never got to the teller window, because when the first bell rang, the Hurricane was in his face. Because all you stared him down in the weigh-in, but you never said anything, and he was talking a mile a minute. So was that all anger inside you, that listening to this guy run off at the mouth? Or?
No, he had a good amateur background, I guess, too, and I think he just thought he was gonna run me over.
Well, he had a
but-
beautiful build.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it was tough while it lasted, but I was in shape for that fight, so.
I think this guy saw 1,000 boxing gloves coming at him. It was unbelievable. And I knew then how you got your nickname, at least from my point of view.
Yeah.
Do you remember how you actually got it?
I was given my nickname through Lenny Fresquez after a fight that I had in my first, one of my first, it wasn't a pro fight, it was against a pro fighter in an exhibition. And I actually ended up knocking the guy out, and it was a pro exhibition. And I ended up having to go pro after that because I received money. So it was an amateur fight, but I was amateur at the time, but I fought against a pro, and I ended up knocking him out at the Sky City Casino, I believe.
Well, we were talking about that. There's fights up here this weekend.
You know, Hector, how long have you been involved in the fight game? When did you start your boxing career?
Amateur, I started at 18 years old. I started late in the game, just fell in love with it after that.
And you've been fighting for how long now?
I think that's 18 years, I think. 18. Well, I turned, well, yeah, 18, about 16 years, 16, 18 years.
Well, that's a lot of fights.
Yeah.
You know, we mentioned your fight against Josecito Lopez coming up March 10th. And Josecito Lopez is a veteran fighter. You know, Austin and I were mentioning earlier, he beat vicious Victor Ortiz. You know, he's got somewhat of a resume.
Yes.
Your approach for a veteran fighter, you know, they're all going to go in the ring, and you know, you have to figure out angles, how they respond defensively, offensively, watch film, the whole thing. What's your approach for a fight against a veteran, and a respected veteran at that, Josecito Lopez?
Yes, he broke Victor Ortiz's jaw from that fight, I recall, and then me, just you get what you see. Straight come, I keep coming when I'm in shape. So if you see me back up, that means I'm not in shape. But when you see me keep coming forward, you know I'm in shape. You see me take a step back, that guy's out of shape. Nah, it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna put that pressure when I'm in shape, and that's what I'm gonna do. That's why I get called to all these camps to put in that pressure, give them that pressure, and make them work.
So you feel like right now, or at least the fight is what, 2 weeks away?
Oh yeah, 2 weeks.
So you feel, as far as your preparation, and Austin mentioned how fighters the last couple of weeks kind of cut things out and cut, you know, certain parts of training out. But where you're at now, you feel good?
Oh, I'm at my best. I think might be at my best point right now, even in my career, just because of the experience, and I'm in shape. So you gotta watch out for me when I'm in shape. I'm in great shape. I've been going. I just got out of camp with Danny Garcia as he got a victory. I went 14 rounds with Danny Garcia at the last camp because he was kind of getting mad at me, but mad because I caught him with some good shots. So he kept wanting more rounds, and that was good for me because I always try to cheat and get that extra round in there. They say it's round 6. Oh no, I'm like no, I think it's round 4. So I get those extra rounds all the time. I don't know why, but I just
it helps you both.
Yeah, it helps us both, and I just love the game.
Austin?
Well, we were talking last week, and you were talking about sitting down in your punches. So fortunately, Ed has volunteered his body if you want to
Yeah,
change.
no, thank you.
And I thought that was nice of him.
Yeah, no, no way. I'd like to live a couple more
A
years,
lot of people
man.
don't understand what that actually means. Maybe you could, sitting down
Sitting
in
down
your
your
punches.
punches.
Yeah, I've been working on that. Also now sitting on my punches more. I for this fight I plan on getting a stoppage. I'm not. That's what I'm going for.
But for the person watching on TV, what do they
yeah.
mean sitting down?
You
You
sit
sit
on-
on the floor? Or?
Yeah, no, you bend down your legs, you get on your leg, you bend down and put your weight into the shots and turn your body. And so that's pretty much.
Well, one thing I've noticed, because I've been around you a lot of fighters are really tough if they go to their left, but nothing on the right or the reverse. But I always noticed you're ambidextrous, and people say, what do you mean ambidextrous? Of course, these ambidextrous got two hands. But you actually can do that, where a lot of fighters are only dangerous if I let you get to the wrong side of me. But if I can keep you over that side, nothing's coming. Why do some fighters?
My style is just that pressure fighting, so I'm used to being on the inside.
Doesn't
Moving.
matter which way they turn you, you're dangerous.
Yeah, I cut off the ring, and yeah, you just have to. Everybody's like even also styles make fights, so whatever.
The other thing I noticed when you're sparring with Pitbull or Fidel Jr. or Ryan Mendoza, now that you're towards the end of your career, you seem to be doing a little bit of coaching with them.
Oh yeah, I actually do that even in the camps that I go to. I've done it with Adrian Broner, with even this last camp, Danny Garcia. I let them know, when I'm in there with them, I let them know you already know where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be right there, right in front of you. So they get comfortable and have fun with it while they're moving, so they can move left, either way. So they feel more comfortable and get that experience.
I want to ask you this too. How long did you spend with Danny and Angel Garcia? I mean, Angel Garcia is bombastic, man. He's going to defend his son.
Oh, yeah.
There's no question about it. There's been some interviews that I've seen that you can't help, the love of your son, man. And Angel Garcia is going to, he's going to, but then they've asked Danny Garcia, and Danny Garcia's like, that's my dad. That's my dad.
Yeah.
What's he going to say to his dad?
Nah.
You've got Floyd
Yeah.
Mayweather Sr., Roger Mayweather. I mean, you've got family members training, and so for you to go up there, and you said you put a lot of pressure, you guys had some good sparring sessions, and a tremendous knockout by Danny Garcia, Brandon Rios, tremendous knockout. What kind of experience was it for you working in that camp? How did Angel, tell us a little bit about Angel Garcia. I mean, people have this idea about him.
Yeah.
And Josh Pitbull Torres was in studio with us about 3 weeks ago, and he said people might have the wrong idea about the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you only see little TV clips.
Now, you know what? You see what you get with Angel. Yeah, he's a lot of people don't like him. A lot of people don't like him, dislike him, but I love the guy. He's great. He's straightforward. He has.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah, and he's actually that way when you see him on TV and all that. That's really him. So, and he's straightforward and no filter.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, I saw you. I just happened to take a look at that knockout again this morning of Brandon Rios, and a straight right hand, and devastating. Rios
Yeah.
did try, to his credit, he's got a lot of heart. He was in shape too. He did try to get up. Referee says, "Come forward." He's on. That was it. That was it. You got to give Brandon Rios a lot of credit. But that was a tremendous shot by Danny Garcia. What do you think Garcia goes from here? I mean, there's, Austin and I, we're going to have a talk about welterweights: Keith Thurman, Kell Brook, Terrence Crawford, Jeff Horn, Manny Pacquiao. I mean, it's yourself. You get a good shot here against Josecito Lopez. What do you think if this victory will, when you get it? And I'm going to tell you that your confidence today tells me you're going to get that victory. Where do you go from there?
Yeah.
And of course, things have to be decided.
Yes. No, I agree. I'm going for the win. I'm going for the stoppage. I'm at my best right now, and I'm hoping he's at his best. As I've heard on recent interviews, he's at his best, and that's what I want, is the best Josecito comes to prove to myself. You know what I mean? So yeah, once I get this victory, I plan on going again and getting a super big fight after this.
And I think a fight against a veteran like Josecito Lopez, who, you know, again, he had his shot too, you know, but he's a respected fighter.
Yeah.
And if you beat him and beat him in convincing fashion, more
Yes.
doors open for Hector Hurricane
yes.
Munoz.
Yes, for sure. That's a definite. So I'm just willing and I'm just waiting to get that victory. And then what comes next is another big fight after that.
We mentioned, as I didn't get to finish with Danny Garcia. What do you think's next for him? I mean, there's, you know, because he could fight Keith Thurman. You know, Keith Thurman did beat him. He could fight Kell Brook. I mean, there's so many. The welterweight division, and Austin and I were going to kick that around later. But this welterweight division,
Yeah, it's,
man, even in Albuquerque, with, you know, the Albuquerqueans in town, there's some
Yes.
tough Albuquerqueans
yes,
as well.
there is. Now I think Danny really wants that rematch with Keith Thurman, but and I think he might get it before either Porter or anybody else, just because of the money that's going to be involved in the fight. Thurman will take Danny because it's a bigger payday, you know what I mean? And
Pay-per-views, the whole economic impact of fights like that.
it's going to be and I think this time he'll be victorious. He knows what he has to do now.
Right, he's been in with Thurman before. I think anytime you knock a fighter, Brandon Rios is a respected fighder.
Oh yeah.
So I think if you get a knockout like that, you have the confidence today, Hector. I can feel it, man. You know, I can feel that. You know, when fighters have that confidence, and Danny Garcia's confidence after that knockout has to be through the roof right now.
Oh yeah, no, he's tough, man. He can pop. He's different caliber of puncher. I've been in there with so many big punchers out there that their resume shows, but this guy really can hit.
They proved that, Austin.
When you're sparring here with Pitbull and the other guys, you guys are working pretty hard. You're throwing some bombs, but you're still friends, and if you land a shot, you'll back away. But when you're in there in Philadelphia with Danny Garcia, he's paying you. So he's not going to back off when he hits you a good shot.
Oh, no way. No. Yeah, I mean, when I spar back home, like, you know, we're working. It's
Right.
like more of a work type basis. But when I go to these camps, you know, I'm trying to show out myself. You know what I mean? I'm trying to knock these guys out myself, and I'm getting paid for it. And that's why I get all these calls, because I come to work. And if they don't keep their hands up or keep their punches up, that's why they call me to go. There's no reason why they don't. That's why they call me.
You've actually gone to a lot of big time camps. What's your most enjoyable experience?
Jeez, one of my favorite camps was at Arturo Gatti. One of my first big training camp. That was my first one. That opened up all the doors.
Oh, you sparred with
Arturo Gatti, and yeah, may he rest in peace. But yeah, that guy was a great guy. He was a good.
Well, he's a nice guy on an interview, but what's it like when he's throwing shots at you?
It was fun, man. It was great. That was some of my great experiences, just banging with him. And Mickey Ward came and visited camp. They were big friends after that, after those big trilogy wars that they had.
Well, that first fight was unbelievable.
Yes.
But when you first turned pro, you know, everybody has their first fight and you're hoping you win. But at what point in your career did you say, hey, I'm pretty good at this? And you started to say, I'm not just after it, I can do something here. What do you remember in a particular fight? It might not have even been a win.
Maybe the fight win that I got in San Antonio against this Omar Davila. I was an underdog, and I fought him there in San Antonio, and I beat him. He actually dropped me in the third round, I believe, and flash knockdown, got back up, and ended up winning, putting that pressure, and ended up winning a unanimous decision in his hometown, in his backyard.
That's a hard way to win.
So that was pretty pretty good right there.
Hector, on the fight card that you're fighting Josecito Lopez on in San Antonio, who's the main? Are you guys the main event? Who's the main event?
No, the main event is Mikey Garcia. He's going to be fighting Sergey Lipnitz for the world title. This will be his third weight division world title that he'll be fighting, and I believe he'll win.
That's gonna be a good fight too. So the card you're on is pretty it's pretty stacked as well.
Yes, from what I hear, we'll be fighting on Showtime TV. So, it's a big card. Also, Josecito Lopez is trained by Robert Garcia, Mikey's trainer.
Oh, okay. Okay, we got about 2 minutes left. Now, I don't want you to divulge any of your plan for Josecito Lopez. That's something that's close to the vest. We understand that. Is there anything that concerns you about him at all? Besides him being a veteran, he whatever he did against Vicious Victor Ortiz, that's over with. Is there anything about him specifically that concerns you?
No, there's nothing. I've been in there with bigger fighters, heavier, bigger, and more experienced than former world champions that I've been in there. I have no worries about him. Just be ready, and like I said before, my style is come forward. I'm coming forward. That's what it is, and you get what you see, and that's that Mexican style warrior. So we're coming to nonstop. He can know that's my plan.
I love it, man.
My game plan. Let him know.
I'm somewhat Mexican too, man. So I'd love to play it, but never been in the ring. Austin, got about 30 seconds left. Your last question.
You're a bull, and you can bang. Can you remember a fight that you had where you said, boy, this guy can hit? And that you said, boy, this guy's like me. This guy's throwing some heavy.
It's kind of hard to say just because those short notice fights, you know what I mean?
Right.
I fight those top guys and then get them on short notice. I'm not at my best, so it's kind of hard to.
But if you felt pretty good in the ring and you had a good camp and the guy in front of you is throwing some nice heat at you, anyone you remember?
Pretty much a lot of these guys, top guys that let their hands go. So
I'll stick in one quick. It's amazing. You've had, 50 pro fights? You have no marks on your face at all.
I'm almost up there.
I mean, you're as good looking as I am.
Maybe not, but you look great. You know what? Hector Hurricane Munoz, March 10th versus Josecito Lopez. The best of luck, sir. Thank you so much for coming in the studio. We sure appreciate it. You bet.
If we're going to do that welterweight thing, why don't we keep them on?
No, we know this is that. Yeah, that's it. We'll be back 2 weeks for another episode of Legacy Boxing Showcase, sponsored by Legacy Boxing Promotions. For my co-host Austin Colleen, Hector Munoz, producer Josh Brown, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll see you next time.
It's time for the 2018 NMAA State Basketball Championships, and it can be seen right here on the NFHS Network. Get your 1-month all-access pass for $9.95. Visit NFHSNetwork.com/NMAA. Let the madness begin. Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network. Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.